Hello, fourth grade. This is Miss Kyle, ready to do lesson 10.5 with you today. As always, we have our lesson expectations. First off, a quiet spot to work where you can be focused and present with me. Next off, a positive attitude so you can be excited about some new learning. I have a feeling that today's lesson is going to be a really positive one for you because it's pretty straightforward. Your third expectation is to have your Chapter 10 workbook to do some practice with me. And last but not least, a pencil to write with so you can really show that practice and be able to refer back to it for other assignments. As I said, we are on lesson 10.5 today. Let's take a look at what we are going to be focusing on. Here we have our learning goal. Go ahead and read that learning goal to yourself, and then I will read it aloud with you. All right, my turn. I will be able to recognize if a shape has a line of symmetry. So when we're dealing with symmetry, here we have a symmetric shape. There's a line in the middle that shows that if you were to flip this side onto this side, it would be the same shape. And if it is not, it's called asymmetric, which means that it would not be symmetrical. So if I were to flip this side over to the right, it would not match perfectly, so it is not symmetric, it is asymmetric. So when we're talking about symmetry, that word symmetry means same. So here I have a butterfly, and if we were to look closely at this butterfly, we could note that both wings have the same exact outline, just flipped. So if I were to kind of cut my butterfly down the middle, please do not do that, but just in theory, and I were to put this shape over to the right, from the left to the right, it would flip and make it a perfect outline. Now, if I were to take my line and say, move it to be horizontal, would that be a line of symmetry? Not quite, because if I were to cut my butterfly down this way and put my bottom half toward my top half, they would not match up at all. So that's what we're looking at today. Some other vocabulary that would be helpful for you to know are exactly how to describe where that line of symmetry is. So we have that it could be vertical, a vertical line of symmetry. Vertical means up and down. So anything that is going in a straight line up and down, that's showing vertical. If it's horizontal, it's going from left to right or right to left. One thing that's really helped me throughout my life is thinking of horizontal as horizon. The sun sets on the horizon, which is always going to be left to right unless you're in some crazy world where you're like turning your neck and all that stuff. And then last but not least, we could describe it as diagonal. Diagonal would be going from like a top corner to the bottom corner or bottom corner to the top corner. So these are three ways that we could be describing our symmetry. Next, I have a really fun video for you guys, so just sit back and enjoy learning a little bit from this video.
We're in line to ride the Ferris wheel, a circular shape made out of steel. Before we ride, we try to decide where a circle's lines of symmetry hide.
Lines to the center have symmetry, so each circle has infinity. Each line, upon further inspection, creates a perfect mirror reflection.
Everywhere we look, we see lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry.
It's all around us.
At the pirate ship, we wait our turn. This ride can make our stomachs churn. A line from the axle to the ground is one line of symmetry to be found.
Identical parts facing each other have symmetry with one another. Lines of symmetry evenly divide. Let's find symmetry on every ride.
Everywhere we look, we see lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry. Yeah.
We see the roller coaster's loop-de-loop has a line of symmetry between the hoop. A mirror reflection on each side is where the lines of symmetry hide.
Then we see a mirror and realize symmetry disguised right between our eyes. A line divides each side of our face. We see symmetry all over the place.
Everywhere we look, we see lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry everywhere. Lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry.
It's time for lunch and we've got a hunch that symmetry's in the food we'll munch. We look at a cracker, it's a square. We see 4 lines of symmetry there.
To the 4 corners, they were gone, leaving us with a cracker octagon. We looked a bit closer then to see the regular octagon's 8 lines of symmetry.
Everywhere we look,
Everywhere we look, we see
lines of symmetry. Everywhere lines of symmetry. Everywhere we look, we see lines of symmetry. Everywhere lines of symmetry. Everywhere we look.
Wasn't that song fun? Let's keep on moving. Please go ahead and turn to page 577 of your Chapter 10 workbooks. At the top, you should see a share and show. And we're starting off taking a look at number 1. So if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you have what you need. We're going to go ahead and get started. So share and show. It says, tell whether the parts on each side of the line match. Is the line a line of symmetry? Write yes or no. Now, they already have a line drawn for us, and that's shown with this blue line. And they want us to say, if I were to flip the left side over to the right, would it match perfectly? Take your time to think, and go ahead and write your answer underneath number 1. And pause if you need more time, but let's see if you got it. It is not a line of symmetry. Now, a lot of you might be saying, what? Miss Kyle, are you kidding me? That looks like it should work. But in fact, if we were to look at a rectangle and flip it, this bottom corner would be way off at the top here. So if your brain is having a hard time kind of thinking about stuff like that, you're welcome to go ahead and maybe draw a rectangle of your own and cut it and write the same line and try and fold it yourself if that would really help your brain. I am all for you looking for tools that'll help you understand. But if you ended up writing no for this one, awesome, you are on to it. Let's go ahead and try another one. Go ahead and try number 2. I don't want to give it away yet because I realize I didn't hide my answer. But number 2 has like a triangle and then another triangle on the left and right. So go ahead and say whether or not you think that that line of symmetry would work, yes or no. And pause if you need more time for number 2. And let's take a look. Number 2 is yes. This is a line of symmetry. If I were to flip from the left side over that line, it would match perfectly. Let's keep it moving because you guys are on a roll. For 3 and 4, number 3, is this smiley face here. And we see 2 eyes and a mouth. And if we were to flip it over this vertical line, would it be symmetric? What do you think? Write your answer down below. How about for this triangle? If my line of symmetry was right here, which is pretty close to the middle, would that be our line of symmetry? Yes or no? Pause if you would like to take more time to think about it, because I'm going to go through my answers now. Our smiley face, yes, this is the line of symmetry for my smiley face. How about for my triangle here? No, it would not be. I do notice that our triangle would have a line of symmetry, but it would be our vertical line, because we really want to be able to look at that line and flip either from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom over it and be able to see if it matches perfectly. So if you said no because you realize that there's a different line of symmetry there, nice job. Like I said at the beginning, 4th grade, this lesson is pretty straightforward. It's just having you take a look at whether or not those lines of symmetry are in fact going to work for your shapes. As I said earlier, if it helps you, please, please, please get a piece of paper out and feel free to draw out the shapes that you're being asked to compare. Because honestly, a lot of our brains work better with hands-on materials. So no shame in that if you would like to do that as well. I think you're ready to go ahead and get started on Think Central. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time.